Hello, this is Thomas, K4SWL. If you're new here, I like to do real-time, real-life amateur radio field activation videos. And that's exactly what we're going to do in a little bit. We're going to do a field activation video. But first, I want to talk about something near and dear to my heart, actually. And that is building an affordable field radio kit. A completely self-contained, affordable field radio kit. I was here at Tuttle Educational State Forest, maybe it's about a month and a half, 2 months ago, and filmed a tour of my Summits on the Air pack. So this is the pack that I take out with me when I'm doing Summits on the Air and Parks on the Air. And it has a lot of extras in it, mainly emergency supplies, first aid, all those good things. One of my readers reached out, David, very kindly actually, reached out and thanked me for the video and then kind of said, you know, Thomas, one fear I have is that you have a fairly large audience and newcomers may look at this and think, gosh, it's prohibitively expensive for me to go out and build a field radio kit or a backpack for doing Summits on the Air or Parks on the Air. And I really hadn't thought about that because I've been an amateur radio operator since 1997, so a little over a quarter of a century now. And in that time, I've accumulated stuff. So my field kit has a lot of stuff in it that I've owned for years. I just happened to assemble them, put them together to make this field kit. And I wasn't even really focusing on radios in that. It was just all the extra stuff I carry in my backpack. But he's right. Once you look at all that, it looks like a lot of stuff. Especially, I have some pricey items in there, like my Garmin GPS that has the inReach service on it. That's a very pricey item. But it's one that I consider to be very important because I go out on really long and lonely trails by myself. And so it's just a nice insurance policy. It makes my wife happy and my family happy if I ever needed it for an emergency. I don't really want to speak to what you should or should not carry in terms of emergency supplies and first aid because I tend to err on the side of more rather than less because I would rather be more prepared and pay the price in terms of the cost of that or the weight and the mass that you're carrying in your backpack. I'm just wired that way. I always want to make sure I'm fairly well prepared when I'm going out on long trails. However, most of the people watching my videos are actually into Parks on the Air like I am. And with Parks on the Air, you're usually close to your car or your vehicle or not that far away. And so in your vehicle, if you are taking care and you're someone who likes to be a little prepared, you probably have first aid kits and a lot of those things that are in your vehicle and very accessible. And you're probably never very far from a park ranger station or something like that if you were to need help. So what I'd like to talk about today, and I'm actually really excited to talk about because I get a real thrill out of this myself, is how to build an affordable, self-contained field radio kit. And by affordable, I mean, my very first radio was an ICOM IC735 that was used, and I think I paid about $750 for it back in 1997. You can get radios much cheaper than that now, brand new. And not even using $1997, but using $2022. At least I'm making this recording on November of 2022. So there's just a lot of options that we as amateur radio operators living in this era have. So I'd like to start with this very first affordable field kit that I put together. This is just showing some options that you have, and as just one example. And I plan to post more of these showing other examples of other fairly affordable field kits. And hopefully I can show that really you don't need that much to hop on the air. I have the incredible privilege, frankly, to have a fairly popular website and videos for people who like to do this sort of thing. If you're crazy enough to watch my videos, I really appreciate that. I really do. I appreciate the support I get. The support allows me to buy gear, test gear, try things, travel places, and travel with my family. I mean, that's what this is all about. This is a labor of love. It's not a business model for me at all, but it does give me the ability to purchase things and try things I otherwise wouldn't get a chance to do. And I'm just incredibly grateful for that, frankly. but it could give someone the impression that you need really top shelf equipment all the time in order to hop on the air. And that's just not true. Not true at all. In fact, I could very easily get away with only having one field radio. Maybe one of my more affordable ones. I'd probably pick like the Yaesu FT 817. I could be very happy with that radio, or my KX2 or whatever. I could go with an affordable one though, like the 817, and still be very happy, and that being my only radio. Now, being me, I like to shake things up, so I would probably build a couple dozen antennas that I could deploy it with, because if you've been watching my videos for long, you know I like to pair different radios with different antennas in different places. And that's just an aspect of field radio that I really enjoy. But one radio would do everything. I mean, you could very happily be a successful POTA, SOTA, IOTA activator, or even do little mini de-expeditions with just one field radio. So don't think you have to have everything in order to hop on the air. Don't think that you even have to have a really tiny portable field radio that's brand new. You could take the radio that's in your shack and bring it to the field as long as you've got a good battery to power it. Just hop on the air with what you have. Don't let the gear stop you from doing it. Many things can be purchased, assembled as a kit, or you can homebrew it. That's the wonderful thing about amateur radio. So today, I'd like to take you through a field kit that I've put together here, and really with affordability in mind, and it's just like one option. It's not the best. It's not, what may work for everyone, but it is one option. Now, let me get my camera ready here. As I always say, any real YouTuber or someone would have already prepared all this in advance, but that's not me. I drag you along for all of the prep and the behind the scenes and how the sausage is made. Let's take a look at what we have here. I got to be careful. There's a lot of like resin all over this table from what these trees have dropped here. So the radio I have with me today, or the kit I have, I recently built around this Evergreen waterproof case. I wasn't familiar with Evergreen, and I got this just to kind of check it out and see, because I was looking for another waterproof case to keep in the car. Where we live, which is in the mountains in a very rural area, in the wintertime especially, field mice get into our vehicles, and it's just impossible to stop them. I usually get these live capture, catch and release sort of traps for them. And try to catch them and take them into the forest and drop them off somewhere else. But they're really pesky and they get into everything. And if I keep my backpack in there or something like that, they can easily chew into it and mess it up or chew the straps or something. And so I don't like that. I don't want to nest in one of my bags. So when I keep a field kit in the car, I like to keep it in something like this waterproof case. And that way I can just throw this in a pack and I'm good to go. I have it all self-contained. This is how I have this particular pack or this particular case configured, but you could do this a lot more with a lot less money, actually, just with less expense involved, right? I can't think today. I was up very late last night recording. I was a guest on the Ham Radio Workbench podcast, and ironically, it was our annual shopping holiday show. So we were talking about all the different things you can purchase, and actually mentioned this Evergreen kit, which is the reason why I brought the Evergreen case with me. But yeah, so let's talk about this, and let's talk about what I have in here. See, this kit opens up with a little latch here, and this is basically an entire kit. I don't have everything in here yet. I don't have a throw line inside this or anything, but this box costs, I think, let me see here. Did I write down the price of this? I think it's like $27.95 on Amazon. These are made in the U.S. I am finding that the quality of this is as good as Pelican or Nanook, which I consider to be very, very high quality. Very pleased with this so far. The radio that I have in here is the amazing QRP Labs QCX-Mini CW transceiver. Now, I've posted at least a couple of videos about this radio. In fact, I just, last month? Yeah, it was October 2022, I believe. My review of this radio was in Radcom, the Radio Society of Great Britain's magazine did a feature review of this radio, and got a lot of positive comments from that. Thank you very much. And this is just a phenomenal little radio. And it actually is a really good example, and this is something I mentioned last night on the Ham Radio Workbench podcast, is that I'm not a believer that you have to know CW in order to be a ham radio operator. That's just baloney. You can play digital modes or single sideband or satellites, whatever kind of FM, whatever mode you want, and be a ham, because one of the most amazing things about amateur radio is just how much diversity we have in it. How many different avenues of things we can do, right? So don't ever pigeonhole yourself on purpose to think that you have to be this or that in order to be a ham. You're a ham right now. It doesn't matter what mode you're using or anything. That said, CW has become really my favorite mode. Personally, I just really enjoy CW. And one of the really cool things that CW does is it unlocks just a whole host of affordable radios that are very trail friendly, very minimal, very tiny. And you're able to use those and just pay like a third what you might pay for the same radio if it had single sideband, because CW transceivers are just a little more simple. This is a prime example. This QCX-Mini is available from QRP Labs, and you can buy it as a kit for $57.79. This is a monoband radio, so this one's set up for 20 meters because that's, to me, this is the best SOTA band for doing summits on the air, and that's what I intended to use this for. You can buy this fully assembled with the case and everything for about, it's just under $103 US. So it's just kind of insanely affordable, really, for what it does. It is really, really full featured, but it's just monoband. But 20 meters is a very useful band, and these days, heading into the sunspot cycle and everything, it's really not a problem to do all your activations on 20 meters here, at least in North America. I think that I could probably do that from now on, and maybe during the lulls of the next solar cycle, you'd move down to 40 meters or one of the lower bands. But 20 meters right now is performing very well. I say that, we'll find out how it performs today. So this is the transceiver. This is one of the components you will need. And what we'll do is break down all these components. So we got the transceiver. Next, we have the power source. This is, and really I think I'm using this for the first time in the field in a video. This is a product called the Talentcell, and the model number is the YB1203000-USB. This is a lithium-ion battery pack, battery pack. And by the way, I'll have links to all of this in my field report, which accompanies this video, and the link to the field report's the very first link in the description below. So I'll have a link to all this stuff. This little Talentcell battery pack is very popular in the world of field radio because first of all, it has a USB port on it. You can charge it up with a little power supply that they send with this, and it outputs 12 volts from this plug here, and it actually comes with a power cord that fits into many of our radios, like the Elecraft radios, the Pentec radios, the QCX-Mini. It fits this, so it works really, really well. And it should be enough in here to power me during a full activation. We'll find out, actually. I did not fully... It's showing full bars on here, like 5 green LEDs are lit up. I don't know if you can see that in the video or not. But actually, I haven't charged this in a really long time, so we'll see. If, for some reason, it drops off, I have other battery options I can put on there. But when it's fully charged, it should take you through a whole activation. This Talentcell battery costs $28.79. That is super affordable. And it's rechargeable. So if you have a QRP radio like the QCX-Mini, or one that doesn't require a lot of amperage, or a larger capacity battery, a lot of QRP radios can be powered by this. Most of my Elecraft radios can, my Pentec radios, the QCX-Mini, all my Mountain Topper radios can. Pretty much any of my small QRP field radios can be powered by this particular battery pack. And this is very affordable. This is cheaper than getting a lithium iron phosphate battery to start. It's you know, it's lighter weight than a lead acid battery or something. You know, it's just, and I can't even buy really rechargeable AA batteries and then get a multi-pack of AA batteries to output, you know, somewhere around 12 volts or whatever. I can't do it as cheaply as I can buy this. And these work really well. So I'm very pleased with it. And then as a bonus, you actually can charge your phone or something with this little battery pack. So that's one. I also have, in terms of a key, because you'll need a key, I have never used this in a field report before, remember. This is a little key manufactured by MFJ. It's called the MFJ 561. Now they have two versions, the 561 and the 561K. The K is the kit version, and that's the one that I have here. Now, MFJ is a sponsor of QRPer.com and of the SW Welling Post, my other blog. And when they first became a sponsor, part of kind of the compensation or whatever, the sponsorship for an ad and everything, they sent me a few of their products that are kind of that have QRPers in mind. And this was one of them. And this little kit was actually really fun to build. It took me, I don't think it took me 30 minutes to build this. It was very simple, very, very simple little kit. And it was a lot of fun to build. I don't expect this to be a fantastic key, but in kit form, this is only $34.95. The thing I don't like about it is I will have to hold it down to use it. It is super lightweight, and it, you know, it's not going to stay, you know, as I'm using it here on the surface, but it is very lightweight, and it fits in this pack very nicely. So I can fit it in here no problem at all. I would say too that other options that you may want to consider are the N6 ARA tiny paddles. I love those. They're probably even, you could get a version of that that's even more affordable, especially if you go with the kit, than this MFJ one. And then also CW Morse has a whole line of 3D printed pocket paddles that I just love. I use those all the time in my videos. You really can't go wrong with them, and they cost, you know, somewhere around $40 or something, and it's a very high quality product that'll last you for years and years. So there are a lot of options for affordable keys. You would need to expect to pay somewhere between probably $25 up to $45, maybe $50 for a decent quality field key. We'll find out today how this works. I've never used this in the field. We'll see. But, you know, it was fun to build. It was a fun little kit to build anyway, and this may be fun to buy and build as like a spare paddle. You also need an antenna, and in this particular kit, I have a PackTenna 20-meter end-fed half-wave. This is overkill for this kit. The PackTenna is not a cheap antenna. This cost about $90. I think it's like $89.95 or something at PackTenna. This is a 20-meter end-fed half-wave. I love this this particular antenna because it's incredibly durable, rugged, well-built, well-designed, and the reason I have it with me today is it easily fits in this case. So it has more to do with the physical size of it. So this, you know, like I said, is nearly $90. Now this is just an end-fed half-wave, and if you talk to George, who runs PackTenna, he will tell you that there's nothing really special about this other than just the nice handy design, because it's an end-fed half-wave. And a 20-meter end-fed half-wave is a 20-meter end-fed half-wave. The more money you put into it usually has more to do with how rugged it is, how well designed it is, how compact it is, and the materials that are used may be higher quality. But you can build one of these at home for probably $10. Really, the key thing is to have some magnetic wire, the connector, whatever connector you decide to use, and have a toroid that's the right size for doing like 49-to-1 winding. And then you just need some wire and maybe some kind of enclosure or something to put it on. And I've seen millions of versions of homebrew end-fed half-waves. I've also built some myself. You can also get kits, and in fact I brought one with me here today. I'll pull out. I used this yesterday actually. This is the KM4ACK 40-meter end-fed half-wave kit, and these are available for around, I think, about $39 or so. I think it's one of the best end-fed half-wave kits if you've never built a kit before, because all of the components, it's all big, it comes with everything. He actually has a video showing how to do this, and this goopy stuff on here, by the way, is hot glue that I use to kind of secure all these magnet wires and things like that so it doesn't get harmed in my pack. but it comes with the winder, the wire, everything you see here. And Jason does a great job of doing a video showing you how to build this. So it doesn't even, I don't think it even has written instructions. I think you're using mainly the video to guide you how to build this. Super, super easy, fun build. Easy for a first-time kit builder. All you'll need is a little solder and a soldering iron. You don't even have to solder it in that many places, but very simple to do. Now, I also like Adam K6ARK's kits. They're even more affordable. I think they're around $25 each. I've built one of them. He has an end-fed half-wave that is really tiny that just connects directly to the radio. And they're very affordable. It requires a little more skill because there is at least one SMD component, a capacitor that you need to put on there, and you're talking about working with a little tiny connector and building the antenna and the toroid and everything on top of that. So it's a little more finicky to build. I wouldn't recommend it for a first-time kit builder necessarily, unless you're just a little adventurous. It's totally doable. But I find that the KM4ACK, it's just bigger format. It's for what I like to call myself a gross motor skill kit builder, and works really well. And this is a 40-meter end-fed half-wave. It would work fine with this 20-meter radio. I could use this today if I want to, but I'm trying this pairing because I have the PackTenna in here with me. The other thing I have is this, I think this is about a 15-foot RG316 BNC to BNC cable. This one is one that I've had for a long time, and I just recently repaired it. I could build this very easily for about $15. I don't even know if it'd be that much. I could probably do it for a little less than that. I have a spool of RG316 at home. I have a ton of these connectors. I've got the crimp kits and everything like that. And I don't even have really high quality crimp kits yet. I bought like an affordable one to give it a go. And once I get comfortable with it, I'll probably invest in a higher quality crimping kit. But this is very inexpensive. You can even buy this pre-made from PackTenna, for example, for about $25. There are a lot of other companies that manufacture these. ABR Industries I really like. I know that Tufton, Joshua Tufton makes these. So you don't have to buy the kit and build it yourself. But if you happen to already have stuff for making cables, you can easily make your own 15-foot RG316 BNC patch cord for probably $10, $15. So that's also very affordable. I'm trying to think if I've missed anything here. I think I've got it all, this whole kit that I'm going to use today. Of course, you need to log, and so you need something for logging, but you can just use a pencil and paper for that. You don't need anything fancy for it. Ah, yes, there is another thing I need. What you really need, too, is a way, if you live where I do, which is in the southeastern U.S., you need a way to get a line in a tree. And I would recommend getting, from the very beginning, getting a proper throw line and weight. And that's what this is. So don't go with the cheapest one. If you're going to buy this, buy a good quality one. I'm a really big fan of Weaver for throw line weights. This is a 10-ounce one I just purchased. It was on sale, I think, for $13 or $15, but I'd say the price usually floats closer to around $20 for these, and that may seem like a lot of money for something filled with buckshot, but these are handmade in Ohio, and the important part about them is that they don't catch in trees. They just work really well. Arborists use these all the time. They find them cost effective, and I do too, and these really, really work well. I've never had a Weaver bag bust on me when it's come down to the ground, but I have read plenty of reports of other companies that make these a lot cheaper. That sometimes when they hit the ground, they'll just the seams will bust open on them. That's not going to happen with a Weaver weight. This is Marlowe. This came from a 50-meter spool of Marlowe 2-millimeter sailing or throw line. This is manufactured in the UK. You can buy the 50 meter spools of this for less than $12. And what I tend to do is buy one spool of 50 meters, and then I take out the entire 50 meter amount off of the spool. I cut it in half so that I have two 25 meter sections, and then I use 25 meters paired with one of these weights. And it's for this reason I've given away one of these to a friend. I make up several kits of these. I find that 25 meters is great for most antenna deployments. You don't really need more than that. If you're doing something really crazy that you really need to get some height into a tree, then maybe you want to go with 35 meters or 45 meters, or even use the whole 50-meter amount. That's what I actually have in my mini throwline kit, is a full 50 meters. I rarely, ever need that kind of length. Usually 25 meters is just fine for most of my field antennas, especially for the mini end-fed half-wave. 20-meter end-fed half-wave is not super long. So this is my 25-meter line. Now 25 meters, you don't even really have to put this in a pouch if you don't want to. I just wind it up in a figure 8 on my hand, and then I have one of these little Velcro straps I put around it. I have S-hooks on the end of this, and really only need the S-hook on one end or some kind of hook. You don't have to have the hook, but it makes it a little easier to find this. You may just want something like a little ring or something on the end, and then I attach it to my backpack so that when I throw it, if for some reason I do use the full length of line, it's not going to just all go soaring through the tree. You know, I hook it onto a backpack or something, and then I can pull it off and then manage it a little bit better. I do not put an S-hook. I don't use this S-hook on the weight end of the line because I think it would just cause, I actually want it to be able to quick release, so I just tie on with a simple loop hook my throw weight. So you can get the Marlow feed line, or Marlow throw line, 50 meters of it for $11.50. I mean, you'll have to pay for shipping on top of that, and the throw weights for anywhere between, you can find these on sale for as low as I think about $12 to $13, and you can easily find them for $24 each. So look around on Amazon and even maybe with Weaver directly, and you may be able to find a deal on these. I tend to go with 8 or 10 ounces for a 25-meter line. If you plan to launch a line really high up into a tree that has a really thick canopy, maybe go for the 12-ounce weight. I think that the 16-ounce weight is just too heavy. It's just not necessary for what we do in amateur radio, so I wouldn't go with the 16-ounce weight. It's so heavy that I don't think you really get the height or anything out of it. I really do think that 10 ounces is probably the sweet spot, and that's the reason I bought this one. But I bought this one on sale. I would have considered just getting an 8-ounce weight, but there you go. So that's the whole kit. Now what I'll do is actually put up the antenna now, and we'll try to put this station on the air and see what happens. I will have to use some supplies that you do not need, including I have an external speaker over here, a little Sony speaker, and that's so that when I run this video you can hear the audio from my QCX-Mini. Also, my QCX-Mini, I've yet to order the AGC mod, which I need to do, and the AGC mod will add an automatic gain control to this radio, which makes it way more kind of usable with earphones. Without the AGC, you run the risk of having the volume a little too high, and then if you have a loud station come in after a really weak station, it could just about blow out your eardrums. So it's better to just use a speaker if you don't have the AGC mod on this. Okay, I'm gonna get things together, get this line up into the tree, and get started. Okay, I've got everything hooked up here, and you may notice I'm not using the MFJ paddle. That's for a really good reason. Somehow there is a loose connection in here, and I can't resolder this when I'm in the field, so I'm not able to use it. For some reason the dash in my key just wasn't working, and I tried messing with it and couldn't figure it out. So I'll have to take it back, solder that connection a little bit better, and fix that. That'll be very easy to fix. But it's okay. I've got an extra key with me, and actually this is one that I love, and this is like the classic C.W. Morse pocket paddle. Very affordable paddle that is very effective, and it's just one of my favorites. It's really rugged and durable too. I mean, I just throw this thing in my pack and don't worry about it. I've got everything set up. The audio is working. There we go. And let's see here. Get out a logging sheet here. There you go. Hopefully you can see this. The sun is kind of right in my face today. My last activation was here at Tuttle yesterday. Boy, I don't edit out anything, do I? Who does this? I do it. That's who does it. Okay, let's see. And the date is the 18th of November. By the way, people have asked me this before, and there's not a lot of rhyme or reason to it. When I'm writing, I just noticed I did this. my ones sometimes look like this, and that's a hangover from having worked in Europe so many years and lived in France. I'll do my ones like this. I don't always do them like that. I don't know what triggers me to do it or not. I think usually when I start with a one, I'll often do my one like this, like a European one. And when I'm writing it in a series, I'll just draw a line for one. I don't know. It's just a part of my muscle memory, and it's something I do. So if you see this, that's the reason why you see it that way. And let's see here. We're going to be on 20 meters CW because that's our only option with a 20 meter CW radio. And you know what? I may attempt to log this on hammers. Let's see if we can do that. Let me launch an instance of hammers here. There we go. I hope this works. I haven't used this radio in a while, and I may make a mistake with some of the functions, trying to remember to do CW message memories and things like that. Oops, I gotta do an @ sign. We're at K-4861, and this is for Parks on the Air. Oh wait, I didn't put in anything in here. I gotta put my date in here. 202211, and let's see, today is the 18th. There we go. And now I'll put my park in here, K-4861. It'll be CW. The band will be 20 meters. And I'm going to put a fake call sign in here. I'm going to put in QCX. And that'll let me know that that I was using my QCX, and I'll remove this later so it doesn't show up in logs, of course. But this means when I move off right now to do a spot for myself on the POTA network that I'll be able to find myself again. Now I have to admit, I just tuned around a little bit. I'm on 14061 right now. I don't know if you can see this. I'm not hearing a lot of other signals out there right now. That's a little scary. Let me change the rate here. I'm hearing a little. Not much, though. It's pretty darn quiet. We may be having a not so great day in terms of propagation, but we'll just make do. I just like to get my 10 contacts, maybe. Okay, so let's see here. Let's move it back to... There we go, 14061. I think I got this set to 19 words a minute. I need to spot myself. Let's see here. I wonder if I can... Oh, there we go. So I go in here into POTA app and spot myself. Add spot K4SWL 14061 K-4861 CW spot. That worked. Okay, good. I think it worked. Let me refresh this. It looks like it disappeared on me. May not have worked. Oh, okay, it worked. Now I go back over here to hammers. Good, it's got everything in there, just like it should. And then hopefully I can do this on the side without too much trouble. See, it's about 1600 hours right now. Ooh, boy, he's down in the noise. I'm trying to do something with my logs here to fix something off to the side. Okay, I think that's KE. It is I. Sorry about that. Boy, conditions are bad today. I'm hitting an extra dit sometimes. Boy, listen to how he's fading. Oh man, band conditions are rough. I'll use the message memory keyer and then fix my logs here. Take out my first entry so that I've got a true 6 on here. That's good. There we go. You have to do it again. My key is missing. My key is missing. For some reason, I was having a really hard time doing the 9 and the V. I'm getting a little feedback, I think. There we go. Okay, we'll try this again. think I'm getting a little RF feedback. Ooh, listen to that go. Oh, he's really strong. Okay, I think I got that right. I may get worked all states if I keep going here. Ah, it's miskeying. I really need a common mode choke on this. I think that's what's causing the problem, because this is actually not sensitive to RF, so I'm getting a little RF back on this today for some reason. Sorry, I'm having to correct something in my logs. Okay, this is tough doing two things at once. Okay. Is that right? VE3. I thought it was VE3. There we go. VE3FI. T9. My key. This is not the key, it's actually feedback. I'm getting feedback off of that antenna. Boy, QSB. It's sending extra dits and dashes. I just can't hear you. I think I got that right. Oh man, everything's just dropping off on me. I got him. Okay, good. Hard to hear. Oh goodness, I think they're at a park, but I can't hear that. Boy, I can barely hear. I can barely hear that. Okay, I'm gonna turn this off. Whew. Okay, that was complicated. So let me explain what was going on. I can barely talk and do this at the same time. So first of all, I need to go through here and make sure I didn't make too many mistakes in my entering my call signs. My hands are a little cold. It's about 42 degrees here, something like that right now, and my hands are, it's not actually that cold, but it's cold enough that my hands are getting cold, and that's making it more difficult as well. Yeah, so 21 contacts, not bad. So a couple things I noticed here. So the QRP Labs QCX-Mini has a very quiet receiver, actually. It has very good characteristics, for a little small radio like this. But the bands were noisy today. What you were hearing, I believe, was QR Nancy, which is just some atmospheric noise. And obviously, the bands are really disturbed because you heard how, and it's even exaggerated when you don't have an AGC. Did I mention I haven't done the AGC mod on this yet, and I need to do that? But it's really exaggerated when you have that because you hear the really ups and downs of fading. And some of these people would come in and I could barely hear them. They'd come back really strongly. Some people would be strong and then they'd fade away. And I could tell that they were struggling with me when I had to go back 2 or 3 times with my call sign or with a report for them to hear me. I mean, that's just the nature of the beast. Now, we had some decent propagation in here. I made it out to Washington State. We've made it all through, down to Louisiana and Texas, into Ontario. We've had some decent propagation on 20 meters, but you can tell conditions are very disturbed right now. I didn't check the forecast before I left because I just never let that bother me. I should have checked in with my buddy Mike just to kind of get an idea of what to expect. Now, the keying, you heard me making a bunch of keying errors, and that wasn't all me. Some of it was me, maybe 15%. Maybe I'm being, kind of conservative with that. Maybe it was more than that. But I was finding that even just hitting the dit was sending like a dida. When I would have to hit like a dash and then several dits, sometimes it would add extra stuff in. I'm pretty sure that's happening because I'm just getting a little RF feedback off of my antenna for some reason. Now the QCX-Mini is not particularly sensitive to RF coming back, but sometimes some antenna deployments, it just happens. And it may be that I just need to add a little common mode choke in here, and that would take care of the whole thing with this particular setup. But for some reason, I'm just getting a little RF feedback back from the antenna. That could be the reason, actually knowing that now, why this key was acting up a little bit. That could be the reason. I was finding that the dash wasn't working well and reliably, and I thought it was maybe a loose connection. I have a hunch it's because this is made of a conductive material. This is like some kind of, I guess it's aluminum, and no, it's probably not aluminum, it's probably steel of some sort. But when I was holding it, it was probably adding to the effect and making it more difficult. So I could have reached into my bag and got a common mode choke, and that's probably what I should have done, just put it in line and use that. But I was planning to end this activation soon. I've got 2 errands to run before I go home. I've got to take my daughter to a riding circle. I've got my regular father activities today, and I've spent a lot of time talking in this particular video because I wanted to really go into the in and outs of having an affordable field kit. But I was overall very pleased with the activation. I think I held in there pretty well, and I think it's a pretty good... my videos, I like to show all the warts in them. In fact, I kind of like it. I really do like it when things don't go according to plan, because let's be honest, that's what happens to everybody. It's a secret. Don't let anybody know that. When you go out to the field and you do an activation, you have some that just work perfectly sometimes, and then you have some where you have little issues, just little small issues that add up and make it less comfortable, right? You may have an antenna issue, you may have like a radio setting issue, you might have dirty contacts on your CW key. That's something you should always check, by the way, because that can cause keying problems as well. That's not what happened today, though. I could tell by the nature of what was happening. You may have heard when I would send 7.2, or what was it, the RRTU. When I'd send TU, sometimes I think it was sending an extra dit or two. That's just a keying problem from RF coming back into the radio. This stuff happens, right? It happens. Sometimes you have noisy conditions, you have bad propagation, you miskey things, you hear things incorrectly. All those things happen in real life, and you should know that that's what makes this kind of fun and challenging sometimes. And I actually really like that. I feel like the more I'm operating in conditions that are not just perfectly ideal, the better operator I become over with time, because I can overcome that in an emergency situation, on field day, during a contest, during whatever, all of those skills add up to help you become a better radio operator. And it's always a learning process. When I'm 20 years down the road from now, I'll still be learning from this stuff. It's a continuous learning process, and I think it's what makes amateur radio so much fun. You just don't know what's going to happen, but you just make it a point to enjoy each and every moment you get in the field and you get in front of the radio, because you get to connect with all your friends. You get to do something extraordinary that other people just don't do. Other people are on their iPhones and iPads and Android phones and tablets and computers, communicating, twittering, tweeting, doing all these things. And here we are going out into the woods and throwing a line up into a tree with a wire antenna and making contacts all over the continent and into other continents sometimes. And with 5 watts of power from a little tiny battery, this stuff's so much fun. I don't know why everybody doesn't want to do this. And if you're learning CW, be patient. It takes time, but I promise you, everyone can learn CW unless you have like a specific learning disability that affects your communications. almost everybody can learn CW. It is kind of a different language, and I hear people say that, but it's not. I've learned other languages, and it's not as difficult as learning another language. It's nowhere close to that. All you're doing is you're giving your brain a different way to interpret letters in your own language, and that is all you're doing with CW. If CW were incredibly difficult, they would have never had so many people in the military using it, and so many different, it wouldn't be so widely used if it were super difficult. But it does take time. It just takes time for your brain to get used to it. And that may come across as something that's like a really big barrier to entry, but it's just not. You just need to spend time listening. Boy, I need to get off my soapbox, don't I? I need to pack up, get out of here, and enjoy the rest of my day here. I've got a little driving to do, got my errands to run, see my daughters. I'm happy to do that. And Thanksgiving's around the corner as we film this today. Not very far off from Thanksgiving at all. I think it's next Thursday. I'm looking forward to that. I'm always look forward. Thanksgiving's my favorite holiday. Our friends up in Canada enjoyed theirs in October, in early October. And I've had the pleasure of actually spending time with friends in Canada on their Thanksgiving. And down here in the States, I love Thanksgiving. It's not as commercial as Christmas and some of the other December holidays can be, and so I kind of like that. It's just all about getting together, spending time with family and friends, and just being grateful for what we have. And so let's all go do that. Let's be grateful for our friendships, for radio, for everyone in our lives that we enjoy being with, and go out there and just be good people on this planet. Okay, thank you so much, and until next time, take care and 7 threes.